welcome to your Ageless Musical Brain podcast, guys. Very excited about starting season 3. The season opener today, the show that connects your brain movements to brain health. I'm Lucelena Blanco, Lucy from the dance-loving city of Cali, Colombia. Don't forget to subscribe, guys. I want to share with you today that I've recently joined the gym again and lifting weights, cardio, all that good stuff I've spoken to you guys about, and I even have an awesome trainer. However, for a longer period of time and for many years, that as a hobby, I had the mirror, the fast-paced dance music with me, and the living room space, all to myself with no neighbors above me or below me. I was in heaven. I came to realize that I was moving in a way that created this natural euphoria, and I felt that I needed to dig deeper and find out why. On the show today is Sia Marway. She's done TED Talks, is a certified yoga instructor with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Indian classical dance and music, founder of Kulaa.fit, a movement tech platform that bridges fitness and Indian art form, promoting holistic wellness, along with her research blending Indian cultural practices with modern wellness and international rhythms. With a BSc in psychology from the UK and a background in psychology and research from Harvard University, she brings a unique human-centered lens to her behavioral research, spanning from healthcare to education. Sia, welcome to the show. It's such a pleasure to have you here today.
Hi, Lucy. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure for me to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, Sia, a lot of us are going to the gym these days, and we think a lot about our muscles and our energy level. What else should we be thinking about long term?
This is a very important question. And I love that we're starting with that today. When we all think about fitness, most of us think about, our muscles or like flexibility and endurance. But the truth is that one of the most important and overlooked aspects of fitness and health is actually our brain health. We tend to, separate physical fitness and mental health, when in reality, both of them are deeply connected. And every time we move, whether it's through dance, it's through yoga, or like learning a new sport, we're not just, moving our body, we're also training our brain. There's a big mind and body connection over there. That's very important and something that we should really highlight. This challenge, and we need to keep moving our brain and exercising it. When we repeat the same gym routine over and over again, and our brain kind of becomes less engaged. But if we focus on aspects of coordination, rhythm, and add memory all into it, like remembering a choreography or syncing in with rhythms and one another, then our brain tends to as well get activated, and that mind and body connection really starts to expand and really starts to grow. If we want to talk about true holistic fitness, we need to start thinking about our brain, our mind and body connection.
Tell us about the importance of neuroplasticity and how that relates to dance.
Yes, neuroplasticity and dance, two of my most favorite things. Every time we dance, right, we're training our brain to grow, adapt, and connect in new ways. And that's what we call neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to form new neural connections. And so when we learn a new step or follow a rhythm, we coordinate our body with different movements with music. We are literally strengthening those neural pathways. And it's like agility training for your brain, right? It makes the brain more agile, it makes it more adaptive. What's fascinating is that dance engages the brain on multiple levels. So you have it engages your memory, right? Because you need to learn the steps. So it engages that. It engages your sense of rhythm. It engages emotions. It also engages the aspect of creativity, of how well you grasp concepts. So there are multiple functions of your brain working all at the same time through movement. So you have your motor skills, your sensory skills, your cognitive, and your emotional systems all working together. That's why dance can be so important, right? There's this whole area of dance therapy as well. It's coming up, right? That helps improve these motor skills, these sensory skills, links to your prefrontal cortex. So there's a lot of research out there that's done on this. There's a lot of neuroback, a lot of science, and a lot of studies that's done on that. But it's also about the joy that you feel. Dance as well. It releases dopamine and these endorphins that, which makes learning feel rewarding. Emotional engagement deepens this neuroplasticity. Just feel good about it as well, and you want to keep doing it, and it just gives that feel good factor. Really just ties it in all together.
There's this joy long term, right? That gives us that satisfaction that, hey, we live the moment. We have learned through time to live in the moment, to live in that flow, so that long term it can help our brain. So since you talk a lot about brain longevity, what are a few small but very few daily habits that people can start building for long-term brain health?
The thing about this, right, about brain health and longevity, is that you can't really do one big thing or one big thing every once in a while. You have to keep doing small everyday habits that move towards this whole goal of longevity. I can best explain this in potentially 3 categories. So if we're talking about learning, right, the novelty and learning and growing, right, keep learning through the body, then one of the best things that we can do for our brains is to keep learning new things, especially ones that, involve our mind-body connection, going back to what we spoke about earlier. When maybe we learn a new dance sequence, or we try a different workout style, or maybe we even walk a new route, right? We see different things. We're strengthening our neural pathways, right? And strengthening, it goes back to neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and grow. Telling people to move in different ways, move every day, do something new, just a way to keep your brain active and agile, keep learning, keep rewiring those neural pathways is very important. 2, when we talk about rhythm, moving more mindfully and more joyfully, adding any sort of rhythm to your day. I did my TED Talks on tal and rhythm. Our brains are really wired for this rhythm. Rhythm is everywhere in our lives, right? It improves our mood, our focus, right? Like dancing or drumming or any sort of flow. These kind of rhythms, they stimulate our reward systems and motor sensory areas. So that rhythm also improves coordination. It can boost dopamine levels, and also impact our emotional balance. These things are also very important when we talk about brain longevity. And lastly, when you speak about the brain needs rest. And now today's day and age, everything is so stressful, and there's a lot of external environments out there that impact us. Resting and reflection on that. Rest is very underrated for the brain. But true brain longevity comes from recovery, right? And simple things like mindfulness, breathing, journaling, taking that time out for yourself and creating that stillness and safe space allows your brain to be able to learn new things, regulate your stress hormones. This combination of movement and being mindful is that creates that optimal balance and creates that whole pattern for brain longevity. These are very important things to note.
Burnout and emotional fatigue then becomes a big problem that we are facing, and a lot of depression and anxiety in today's world. How can movement help us build this emotional resilience that so many of us crave to have?
Burnout has become a buzzword, has become something that, it's prevalent across all age groups now. It's not an age group thing. It's prevalent across all age groups. It's constantly happening over and over. When we move, we activate parts in the brain that regulate our emotions. This rhythmic movement, this repetitive, the nature of movement helps to calm ourselves. It lowers cortisol levels in us and increases endorphins, our serotonin levels, just really makes us feel that joy, right? You just take that second to yourself and, you connect with others as well. It's a way to connect with yourself. It's a way to connect with others, right? Just away from the phones, away from any digital part, just really grounded and connected movement. human connection. Like dance does that beautifully, movement does that beautifully. Those are one of the strongest, ways that we can protect ourselves from like burnout, or just a way to kind of like even cope with it and make sure that okay, we're not reaching that level. Like movement teaches us in a way a step into our own space, create that own space for ourselves where we feel like where self-expression kind of shines, right? And it kind of reminds us that you can kind of push through the challenge, right? It's whatever form of movement, right? Dance, yoga, through that fitness, just any form of movement that connects with you the best. It's not just that outlet for stress, but it's also a way of like connection and deepening that connection as well, and building those kind of connections and bonds in life.
I come from Cali, Colombia, as you know, and in Colombia we have this tradition that although my country is full of stigma when it comes to dance, there's one thing that remains consistent, right? It's the resilience. What does salsa dance loving city like mine in Cali have in common with Indian rhythms?
A lot is to do with culture. I'm Indian and I come from that background, and I think that the Indian culture has so much to offer, like your culture as well, right? I think that culture is something that really withstands the test of time, right? And that's why it's like trickled down from like generations, and that's why our grandmoms and granddads, they want to like pass down to us as well, and that's why our communities are so rich and so strong, right? It's from culture and community, things that keep coming back to us. That is really something that's a concept that really helps us bond with one another, right? You feel like part of that identity, right? That nostalgia, those feelings really come out through that culture. So I really think that's a very strong and powerful concept that has really like stood the test of time as always. Coming back to your question about salsa and Indian music, listening to both, that they come from like two different worlds, two different cultures. When you really get to the essence of it, and when you really think about it, they have rhythm as this language of connection. Both are built on rhythmic patterns. The drums, so they have these different beats, and the drums as is these tals, which are like these beats and these cycles, so different segments. And I think the bodies just learn to like respond to that in a very positive manner. And I think that's where all the magic happens, because this rhythm is what the brain really like takes like a liking to in both aspects. When we move in sync with rhythm, whether it's like the salsa drums or like the layers of tal beats, our brain engages in rhythmic entrainment, in essentially in motor and auditory areas of the brain synchronized together. So it really like boosts coordination, and it just makes us feel as one. It releases the same kind of feelings of like culture, community, through both levels of music and movement. I think both of them are also very deeply expressive. It's not really about, both of them have different cultures, so both of them really talk about their culture, and that kind of shines through. It's really like, heavily deepened in community as well. And they both make the people feel the same way, the same kind of joy, the same kind of feeling, that identity, that community. Even though they're from different parts of the world, it's kind of this feeling of belongingness that, you feel for your community and I feel for mine, right? But both of us are still one, because that feeling and that essence is the same. Rhythmic language, universal, right? Whether it's the drum beats or it's the tabla beats in India.
Thank you so very much, Sia, for sharing this valuable time here with me and helping me create awareness of the importance of learning more about our brain health, how our brain is in sync with music, and how we can use dance and drumming to lower our stress, improve our mood, sharpen our focus and cognitive abilities through the years. And also how our episode here is creating awareness that stomping and clapping is much more than child's play. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy, for having me. Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see more shows like this, just click that subscribe button. Ciao.